This takedown is one for the books. When Elon Musk took over Twitter, it felt like the entire world had something to say, and some of the most outlandish came from a panel of Democrat congressmen on Bill Maher's show. They tried to frame Musk as a questionable move, but Maher wasn't having it because he understood the reason behind this acquisition. Today, we're covering that in addition to showcasing where the platform stands today. As always, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos just like this.
Ro, this is for you. Do you think the massive tech layoffs announced this week, bloodbath in Silicon Valley, are an economic bellwether for other industries? What's going on there?
I fear that it is of concern. I mean, what you've had is advertising slow down because advertising isn't always the first thing people need. And so you've had layoffs at Facebook, you've had layoffs at Twitter, you've had hiring freezes at some of the other companies, but consumer spending is still good.
And since this is your area, what do you make of the Musk takeover of Twitter? Is that something that alarms you, or do you welcome it? Do you hate it?
You know what I said to him? I said, why in the world would you want to be running the day-to-day of Twitter? Like, do you really want to make a decision on whether Bill Maher or O'Connor's tweet should stay or not? I couldn't think of a worse possible job. Just appoint some board independently to make that decision.
Well, I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah, well,
no, look, I think he had a terrible week, but he's a genius. Sometimes geniuses are stupid. And I'm still on his team. I think it's great. I think it'd be so good for the Democrats to unshackle themselves from woke Twitter. This election just proved they do best when they have, the moderate guy who's not beholden to woke Twitter. Twitter does not vote.
That's Democrat Representative Ro Khanna, and out of all the people in the world, he should have been the one supporting Musk's move the most. You see, this interview was aired in November 2022, and just a couple weeks later, the first batch of the Twitter files was posted, and you know what Matt Taibbi found in them? An email from Ro to Twitter's former top lawyer, Vijaya Gadde, regarding the censorship of the Hunter Biden laptop story on the platform, in which he wrote, quote, "I say this as a total Biden partisan and convinced he didn't do anything wrong, but the story now has become more about censorship than relatively innocuous emails, and it's become a bigger deal than it would have been." Musk's initial reasoning for investing any money in Twitter a few months before buying it was, quote, "I invested in Twitter as I believe in its potential to be a platform for free speech around the globe, and I believe free speech is a societal imperative for a functioning democracy." If you consider that, you'd quickly realize that it wasn't about banning or removing some random person's tweets. In fact, it was quite the opposite.
Sure, Twitter doesn't vote, but I also don't think we need to be afraid of expressing our opinions on Twitter. I had a problem.
No, we should. Exactly. That's what he's standing up for. We shouldn't be afraid. I am afraid. I got off Twitter because everything I wanted to say on Twitter, I couldn't say on Twitter.
Why?
Because it would just be it's such a minefield to get canceled. You know that 99%, I'm sure you know this, 99% of the people who worked at Twitter, half of them don't now, vote Democratic. Now, even if you're a Democrat, you shouldn't like that. That's not healthy for any company or any country.
I'm sure you all remember Twitter before Elon's acquisition. The platform was pretty much ground zero for cancel culture, becoming the go-to space where the woke mob would hunt down anyone who didn't conform to their standard. One wrong tweet, you were done for. Whether you said something unpopular or something that could be misinterpreted, Twitter would unleash its army of keyboard warriors ready to call for your cancellation. Didn't matter if it was a celebrity politician or just some regular Joe Schmo, it was open season. Lost jobs, social media bans, and relentless harassment were just the beginning. Twitter had become the ultimate platform for those looking to enforce their version of correct speech, silencing anyone who stepped out of line, and let's not even get started on the hypocrisy. If you were part of the right crowd, you could say whatever you wanted, but if you weren't, you could expect an army of SJWs to come after you in seconds.
I'm not for censoring people on Twitter. I think that if you're going to incite, which I don't think ever did, but if people are inciting violence,
that's different. Of course.
So clean that up.
Yes.
But allow a free exchange of ideas. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with whoever Elon Musk wants to support politically. I mean, it saddens me that he's not supporting reason and the Democrats, but that's his First Amendment right. My problem is that you don't want him making decisions over the media forum. He should have an independent independence.
I just like to tweet pictures of my dog on Twitter. I mean, things like that.
It's pretty funny how the left didn't seem to have any problem with Twitter when it was run by openly progressive people. For years, Twitter was the place where liberal voices dominated the conversation, and they had no issue with the leadership being aligned with their views. In fact, many of them loved the platform for how it silenced conservative voices, and no one really blinked an eye when accounts were banned or tweets were deleted. By the way, I've noticed you still haven't liked the video or subscribed to the channel yet, so what are you waiting for? The narrative was quick to change as soon as Elon Musk took the reins, who was a centrist with a history of challenging the status quo. It wasn't about free speech anymore. It became all about a single person making decisions over a social media company. The left, who had been content with a biased platform when it suited them, started to cry foul about the concentration of power in Musk's hands. The irony, it's pretty hard to miss.
The weird thing about the Twitter thing is, Elon Musk has been a brilliant business person, right? And I just don't understand paying $44 billion. I think that a lot of that value is just going to evaporate. I don't see how he turns this into a winner.
Well, they said that about the electric car and reusable rockets. So I mean, the guy is not exactly he's not exactly without a track record, and he has plans to make Twitter into something much bigger than it is. Not just a place where you can say whatever, it's your picture of your dog. He wants to have it like where you do your banking and like some of these other social apps.
And if he gets rid of the bots, that'll help.
And he's doing that.
While Elon may have paid a hefty premium for Twitter, if you look at the bigger picture, it's become clear that his investment is paying off in many ways that we didn't anticipate. Sure, critics love to point out how much he shelled out for the platform, but they overlook the sheer influence the platform wields in shaping public discourse. We saw it in full force during the last election. X isn't just a social media site, it's a megaphone that can amplify ideas, push narratives, and even influence political outcome. You can't deny the fact that it has become a critical part of how we consume news and discuss everything from pop culture to politics. It might be the most powerful digital town square of our time. Musk is arguably the most influential man on the planet at the moment. On top of all of that, he's launched Grok. He's looking to make it into a YouTube competitor and exploring how it can become a banking tool. So it's self-evident that owning such a platform isn't just a business decision. It's a strategic power move that could only benefit Musk in ways we're only starting to grasp.
I wonder, with all of this, especially in Silicon Valley, when did Democrats say that what happens at Twitter, what happens on Facebook is like a utility? It needs to be regulated like a utility. Is that going to be part of the discussion in the coming years in any way? Because it is confusing, even as a reporter, to track who's in control, who should be in control, where does the First Amendment end if it ever ends? What is the story? Because a lot of people are arguing on Capitol Hill, it should be like a telephone company.
But that's a terrible analogy because the telephone, this is a free speech issue. Not a utility is like gas and power and stuff like that.
I just wanted to showcase this clip because there are people out there who think social media platforms should be regulated into oblivion. First of all, the argument that they're utilizing falls flat the minute you realize you could perfectly live your life without their existence. It's nothing but a push for direct government control, where whoever is in power gets to decide how those platforms operate and what content gets to be posted, removed, or censored, just like Orwell had imagined. I'd love to know your thoughts here, so let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. And by the way, if you want your friends to stay in the loop like you, please share the video with them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.